and we are filming on set, Saturday's Child, Cola.
So I'm here with Frank Apicella.
Hey.
My name's Victor Strangis. Frank, can you tell us, tell the people out there how we met?
It's a great story, actually. As I been hanging around the studio, 30 Mil Studios, the pleasure of assisting and sitting in on Mark Opitz's recordings. And one of the recordings was a band called Lip Stereo that he asked me to come in and sit on with him, and it happened to be Victor Strange's son. So I rolled up into the studio, and as the saying goes, he brought the cannolis, I made the coffee.
You're running right over there. Yeah, you're running right over there. Yeah. And now I don't really care.
You know, it's interesting because Frank's had a background in bands as well. I've been in bands since I was a teenager, and so has he. And Frank was out in the Sydney circuit.
Yes, the western suburbs. From the western suburbs to the Sydney circuit. And I had my own recording studio for a good 10 years, 12 years, something like that. And loved punk when I first started, as did Victor, which was great.
Yeah, so punk music was our connection because Frank was into the first wave punk like Generation X. He actually knew of a band called Stiff Little Fingers.
Yes.
A band that I grew up in. I played in a band and that's all we played was Stiff songs.
Yeah.
And so that was quite interesting. It's funny you meet people like that, you sort of think they don't exist, but they do. So I was quite lucky.
I love this guy. I really do.
Yeah. We're here with director Daniel Woods, and so this is Daniel. So Daniel, tell us a little bit about this production. How did you get involved? I mean, I'm the guy that got you involved, but tell the story if you like.
So pretty much I was helping out filming Lip Stereo's gig, one of the live performances, and pretty much I saw you there, started chatting, going, you mentioned you had this project you needed some help with, just sent me the brief and had a look at it, gave you treatment, and from there we pretty much just continued from there working on this, and now 3 weeks later we're filming.
Yeah, so it's actually quite a quick process because we've had a couple of directors fall through because, I don't know, COVID's kind of taken it out of the industry, but everyone's a bit frantic, but Daniel was fortunately available, so that was good.
Yeah.
So interesting, Daniel, I've given you the brief today of doing like an early 60s film noir piece. Can you explain to us what was involved in sort of preparing that as far as your crew and resources?
Yeah, so just finding location that can probably match the closest to the time period. Like this is the Manchurian bar in the CBD Chinatown, and it's a cocktail bar, and it's kind of what we were going for, classy look, even dim lighting. So it's good for like visual references when we're needing. And then from there, just like getting crew like the cinematographer, Thomas Snowden, and then Annika Rigg, the production designer, and from there, slowly building up more crew members to try and nail the vision or close to the time period as best as we can. Yeah.
So we're here with Tom Snowden. Tom's actually camera. What's your technical definition of your role here today?
DOP or director of photography or cinematography, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, they're all the same.
Yeah, wonderful. I think of cinematography, I think of people like directors like Martin Scorsese and how that was really important in the overall development of each piece that they were filming and stuff. So I'm fascinated by that whole process. Is there anything as far as this production here that you sort of that you can share with us that's sort of that might be of interest to the viewers?
Yeah, it's just been extremely interesting. I mean, the location does a lot of the heavy lifting for us, luckily. Yeah, you guys found a very nice location. It just so much character, we just went with it.
Yeah.
It sort of just fit the vibe we went with and just added small things. That was great. And then, but other than that, it's a very tight location. So setting everything up, setting up lights has been a bit tricky today, but we're getting there. Yeah.
It's a fascinating process. How do you capture the richness of the texture and the colours and the depth of what you're doing? Like, I suppose a lot of it's equipment, but it's actually knowing how to operate it as well and getting the most out of it.
Yeah, it's all. Well, the depth of this place is just making sure that not everything falls into one colour, basically. So our lovely production designers helped us with that by getting the costumes popping out, getting those little lights here like this, different colours, so we have a little hints of everything. And it's looking really lovely. And then
sort of setting the contrasts.
Exactly, yeah. We don't want everything to meld into each other. They have like little hints and little contrast of everything, and that way it just stands out.
Getting ready for the shoot and getting all dressed up. I'm trying to keep it authentic, the 60s. It's a bit of a challenge, but it's going to work out.
I'm Grace, I'm the makeup artist. The look that I'm doing is very inspired by the 50s, which was very much wing lash, cat eye, lip, pastel colours on the eyes. She's wearing a pink dress, so we went with pink. That's about it. I'm just finishing off the eyeshadow, adding a little bit more. We might add lashes if we need to, but we'll see how that goes when we shoot. That's it.
We're here with Paulina Woods. Paulina is a hairstylist, is that right?
Yes.
That's your official title?
Yep.
Now, Paulina is actually related to the director. Can you explain that?
My son Daniel is the director.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, so Paulina, it's so good that you could come today.
Thank you.
Interesting brief that you were given regarding the hairstyles and I know you're not doing the makeup.
No.
But you had a specific brief for Courtney regarding the hair. Can you explain a bit about what's involved in that?
Well, originally Daniel showed me someone with really long hair, what the style he wanted. But when she walked in, I went, "Oh, she's got a bob. That's fine." But I straight away, because my mum, I love the 60s, and I watched the Elvis Presley videos recently.
Okay, yeah.
And I knew straight away what she needed. And she's got the perfect facial.
Hasn't she? Yeah.
Her eyes, everything, it just suited her. Yeah. So.
We're here with Courtney Crisfield, who's one of the main actors in the music video we're shooting for Cola. So, welcome, Courtney.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm good, bit cold, but I'm good.
I noticed you're wearing someone's jacket.
I've got my own cardigan and a kindly donated jacket.
Oh, that's so sweet, yeah. So, it's an interesting set today here.
It's beautiful.
What do you think of it here?
It's gorgeous. I love the Asian-inspired decor mixed with, obviously suits the 1960s really well. Looks great.
How did you get your start in acting? How long have you been acting for?
Oh goodness, I know I have a youthful-looking face, but I have been working in the industry for 12 years now, studying and then working professionally since then. And I've been fortunate enough to work in Australia and overseas as well, working in mainly theatre, but also done a bit of film and TV, live performance, theme parks, you name it. Someone needs to be laughing and I'm there.
Yeah, cool, awesome.
Yeah, I just love to make people smile and tell stories.
Yeah. Well, that all adds to your story too, doesn't it?
It's a full circle moment, I know. It's like
those dingy jobs that you did for years, and you can talk about that in any careers like that where you think you're doing this cruddy job, but then years later you go, "Gee, I'm so glad I got that experience from that era." It's always reassuring to know that they weren't wasted those years.
Oh yeah, especially retail and hospo work.
Oh, retail, yeah, absolutely. So I'm here with Riley Nottingham, and Riley's the main character here. What's your character's name, Riley?
Handsome man.
Handsome man. What do you reckon, folks? I think he looks pretty good. Well, we've tried to actually scrub him up into a early 60s kind of piece. I like what you're wearing. The blue's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about today. How did you come about to playing this role today?
Well, Daniel, the director, we were doing like a short film. I got cast in that like a couple of years ago, and then a little thing called COVID happened. Might have heard of it. And then I don't think we actually ended up doing that, but then just got the call last week or something. Are you free and think of this role? And sent me the track, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Yeah. And so yeah.
Tell us a bit about your acting background. Where do you where have you done the bulk of your acting in your career?
Yeah, I've been acting since I was 10. So I'm originally from Brizzy. Moved to Melbourne when I was 21. So probably a few things I've done is a kids show for Channel 7 called Toy Box. And then 2 seasons of Metrosexual for the 9 Network, which is like a comedy series. So I've done that, and then lots of musicals and yeah, sometimes writing, recording myself, just kind of.
Are you a muso?
Well, yeah, not to the extent of you, but yeah, like try to.
What do you play?
Keys, piano,
Keys, okay.
yeah, piano and sing, yeah.
Do you perform or?
I do. Often musicals and stuff. I was in a couple of bands back in Brizzy, and now I'm actually working on like my own EP and like a show for the Fringe Festival later in the year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we're here with the band. This is James Lockwood on bass. He's a friend of mine. He plays in a group called The Methinks with me and The Futurists. And so we've got a few shows coming up. And this is Jess Porter. Jess or Jess?
Either or.
It's either or. Jess plays drums in a band called Lip Stereo. And they've just put out their debut single, Stop, on our record label, Pop Preservation Society. And they got played on Rage on Saturday night, which was cool for the first time. So well done, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we have Lee Jones here as well too. Lee's a guitarist. He's from the Midlands in England, and he's a buddy of James. So they play in some bands together. What's the name of your band, your group?
Lee Jones Quintet.
Lee Jones Quintet, yeah. And
mine's called the JL Quintet.
Yours called what?
The JL Quintet.
The JL Quintet. We're here with Jack.
Hello.
Jack Lynch. Jack's a friend of mine. Jack actually works at Jimmy Hornet in Richmond, which is a wonderful music venue. So it's great to have you here today, Jack.
Thank you, Victor.
Yeah. So what do you think of today?
I think it's amazing. Like I said, I've never done anything like this before, and it sort of feels that you can actually understand what it's like to work behind a set, which I've never done, and it's interesting to see how people work together and, yeah, behind the scenes of what it takes to do a music video, which is really awesome.
So it's interesting that Jack, I found out about that Jack was a musician because he gave me a copy of his CD, and he actually did a recording on, and he presented a show on Sylvia Plath.
Yeah.
And so that was really good. Do you want to tell us a bit about that recording,
yeah,
Jack?
well, basically I did a show at the Butterfly Club around the writings of Sylvia Plath, and I composed the music, and that was my first cabaret show, so that's sort of what I do as a performer and artist, and sort of haven't done a lot of that because of COVID and personal issues and all that kind of thing, but I'm really hoping to get back on the horse, as they say, and do it again.